afternoon. Good afternoon, students. How are you? I hope you are doing fine in this Tuesday afternoon. So let's continue with our topic, which is the PNP's police operational procedure. So let us discuss what are these procedures are. How is it important to know the procedures of the PNP in responding to crime? What are the operational procedures in arresting the suspect, and etc. So at the end of the lesson, you would be able to learn and understand, know what are the rules, the PNP operational procedures. Let us first discuss about the definition of rules of engagement. So what is rules of engagement? So it is a common term used to denote a set of procedures on how to execute a certain operation. So how will you execute a certain operation? So you should have to read it in the manual, or you have trained that procedure, or something that your department is telling you, something that the department or the head is instructing you. So, next, police operational procedures are the rules of engagement of the PNP to perform their duty in accordance with what the Philippine Constitution so prescribed in general and the human rights in particular. So this is now in particular with the Philippine National Police. So what are those procedures performed by the police officers in their job? Next, let's go with PNP's Police Operational Procedure Rule 1. So, police blatter. So, the PNP should have in his unit, or in his station, or in his municipality, that the station should have a police blatter. So, unsa man ang police blatter? So, police blatter are those, mostly, police blatter are those big blue books, notebooks that is needed in writing the possible spot report of your AOR, or your area of responsibility. If ever there is someone who complain in your office, so you should also write that one. You have responded for an emergency or crime-related incidents, you should also write that one. And it should contain the cardinal rule of information. So what are the cardinal rules of information during criminal investigation? So first, dapat na ate gitawag who are the perpetrators, who are the victims of the said crime, who, what, or what is the commotion all about, what happened to the suspect, what is the reason why the suspect commits crime. Next, who, what, when. So when is the time, what is the date, where is the place that the crime was committed, who, what, when, where, why. Why do you think that the suspect commits crime? What would be his driving force why he commits such crime, and how did the suspect or the perpetrator commits the crime? It's either iya bang gisumbag, iya bang gidunggab, iya bang gipusil, or iya bang against his will. So that are the cardinal information that should be present in your police blatter. So the police blatter is not that strong, or that is not dili sakto, if especially the media will ask what is the incident report in your locality today. Was there any crime happen in your locality? So you should check your police blatter and see that if it has crime reported in that day. So, makita mo na siya dito. So, all information should be recorded in the police blatter. Rule 2, it is the inter-unit coordination. So, what is inter-unit coordination? So, team leaders of local police units operating outside their area of responsibility and national support units shall coordinate personally or through an official representative with a concerned territorial police unit. So, if ever you have an operation into that area, so before you will proceed to that area, you should have coordinated with the police officers assigned in that area. Say, for example, the PDEA or the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency will conduct by-bus raid in the one of the houses of the barangay in Dimiao. So, before na sila mo proceed sa area, it should have been coordinated or it should be coordinated with the local police officers or unit in that area to the barangay peacekeeping forces. So, that is the proper way for a smooth flow of transactions or operations. But, it is exempted if that operation entails a hot pursuit operation. So if that operation is a hot pursuit, unsa man ang hot pursuit, an immediate recent chase or follow up without material interval for the purpose of taking into custody any person wanted by virtue of a warrant or one suspected to have committed a recent offense while fleeing from one police jurisdiction to another. So, if you are conducting hot pursuit operation in between those municipalities nga maagian mo, you don't need to present inter-unit coordination or a note saying that you will be under the jurisdiction of the local police officers. That is the exemption of the rule. Diba? The rule says that you should have or you will be coordinating to the local agencies assigned in the area of your operation. But the exemption to the rule is when you conduct hot pursuit operation. So say for example, gidakop ninyo sa ubay, nakatakas ang suspect ni flee using his car or using the another's car, basta kay ni flee. So, those municipalities nga maagian from ubay kung asa siya nimo nadakpan, you don't need to present a coordination letter telling that you are conducting an operation because that is hot pursuit. Okay? Next. Rule 3. Basic requirements of police intervention operations. So, generally, all police interventions procedures like arrest, raid, search and seizure, checkpoint, response, etc. shall be conducted with a marked police vehicle, preferably led by a police commission officer and with personnel in police uniform. So, Rule 3 states that whenever a police officer conduct a checkpoint operation or any police intervention procedures, there should be a commission officer present and with marked marked police vehicle. So naay ka ng patrol car, naay commission officers. So who are the commission officers? Commission officers are from the ranks of police lieutenant. So that is the new ranking system. So sa una, police inspector. So with the lowest rank of police lieutenant. So it should be that commission officer should be present and in complete uniform. And there should be a marked proper vehicle and katong naa sa tunga bitaw nga kuan. Please stop PNP checkpoint. Yan na. So that are rule 3 of the PNP's police operational procedures. Rule 4, warning by use of megaphone. So this rule 4 states that a police officer should not use a firearm as a means of warning. Instead, he should use a megaphone. This megaphone is also important when a police officer is responding to a crisis or hostage taking. So, in order for you to be heard of the hostage taker, you should use a microphone to influence or warn the offenders or suspect to stop what they are doing unlawful and or peacefully giving themselves up to the police. So, naamay mga connected megaphone ang ato ang mga patrol car. Istorya na mo sa murag na radio, then that is already madunggan na siya sa suspect or sa perpetrator. Next, warning shots. The PNP shall not use warning shots during any police intervention. So what are those intervention? Arrest, raid, search, seizure, checkpoint, and response. So a police officer should not use warning shot in any police intervention. Next, Rule 6, use of deadly force. The excessive use of deadly force shall be avoided. The use of firearm is justified by virtue of the doctrine of self-defense, defense of relative, and defense of stranger, and if the police have a probable cause to believe that the suspect poses an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the police or other person. So, use of deadly force, especially firearms. If that is under justifying circumstance in the virtue of or in the doctrine of self-defense. So, diba, have you heard or have you remembered the speech of Senator Bato de la Rosa, a former police director, that whenever possible, isalba sa gyud imong kaugalingon, usa nimo isalba ang isalba ang imong kaugalingon if it is very needed. Bahala na ng administrative case that will follow. Okay, once if that doctrine of self-defense, kung magkaintimano na gani og imo og tan-aw nimo nga ikaw na gyud ang mamatay, mas maayo pa siguroy imuhang unhan. Because that is again justified that you only shot the suspect kaysa ako'y mamatay because I am only defending myself. So that is doctrine of self-defense. Next is defense of relatives. From the word defense of relatives, after fourth degree of consanguinity, masulod gyapon siya sa defense of relative and defense of stranger. So, and if the police have probable cause to believe that the suspect poses an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the police or other persons. Next, Rule 7, reasonable force. During armed confrontation, the police may use reasonable force to overcome the threat posed by the suspect. So, whenever possible, do not use force, diba? But if it is reasonable, why not use force again to deter or to prevent the person from fleeing? Say, for example, you have arrested the suspect, nang laban siya. So, unsa maimong buhaton? Resist the if the person resists the arrest, use a reasonable force. Next, moving vehicles. Moving vehicles may not be fired upon solely to disable them. The driver or other occupant of a moving vehicle may be fired upon if the police have probable cause to believe that the suspect poses an imminent danger of death to the police of other persons. So the use of firearm does not create a danger to the public that outweighs the legal benefits of its use. So, may not be fired upon solely to disable them. The driver or other occupant of a vehicle may be fired upon if the police have probable cause to believe that the suspect poses an imminent danger. So, unsa man ang gibalik-balik og mention, probable cause na ay pagtuo ang police officer based on facts, not hearsay, not opinions, not kay dungog-dungog lang. So, he should have probable cause nga kanang tawhana imminent danger, mamusil na siya. So, he can use or he can apply Rule 8. Rule 9, thing to be done after an armed confrontation. So immediately after an armed confrontation, the officer in charge of the operation shall secure the site of confrontation, check whether the situation still possesses imminent danger, evacuate the wounded to the nearest hospital, and account for the killed, wounded, and arrested persons for proper disposition. So Rule 9 is the duties of the first responder. So first responder, what are the duties of first responder? So they have to cordon the area, protect possible physical evidences, determine if there are wounded persons, if masalba pa siya, bring it to the nearest hospital, conduct first aid. So that is the duties of the first responder, which is also applicable in Rule 9, thing to be done after armed confrontation. Rule 10, the last operational procedures in our discussion. Jurisdictional investigation by the territorial unit concerned. So the police unit, which has territorial jurisdiction of the area of the armed confrontation, together with the SOCO team, if any, shall undertake the necessary investigation and processing of the scene encounter. So in cases where there is a slain suspect, it shall submit the incident for request before the duty inquest prosecutor. So together with the SOCO team, who are the SOCO, scene of the crime, operatives, or operations. So they are the trained personnel to gather physical evidences, whether to gather latent fingerprints, photograph. So that is again jurisdictional investigation by the territorial unit. So after the SOCO team gather physical evidences, i-forward din na siya sa police officer who has the jurisdiction of the area. Jurisdiction of the area where the crime has committed. So if the crime is committed in Dimiao, so who has the jurisdictional authority to investigate the case? It's the police officers in Dimiao. But who will gather the evidences? If example, kanang naay na slain or namatay or gipatay, the SOCO team is in charge to gather all physical evidences or all evidences relating to the investigation of the case, and the SOCO will give it to the police officers assigned or having the jurisdiction to investigate the case. So that are the rules of PNP's police operational procedures in the rule of engagement in a field or in their operations or in every course of action as a police officer. So I hope you have gained something out from my discussion, and I will see you on my next discussion. So thank you.